Welcome, guys, to another episode of Realtor Hacks, Tips, and Tricks. We've got one of our favorite guests on again. He hasn't been on. I think you were one of our very first guests when we first started our podcast, and actually, I think that was when we were doing Clubhouse, Casey.
It
We
was.
originally started out on Clubhouse and decided to take it to StreamYard and go live on a bunch of different platforms, and then added it to Apple and Spotify podcast. Little plug for us there. Don't forget to subscribe subscribe on there and leave us a review, please. That really helps us to better improve our show. Open to feedback, any criticism always. So don't forget to do that. My name is Hallie McCrory, two-time Icon agent, mentor for Tariq El Moussa's real estate team, host of Emmy-nominated TV show American Dream TV. And I've got my co-host Casey Stiers on. She's also an American Dream host in Raleigh, North Carolina. She's actually the downtown guru of North Carolina, or Raleigh, North Carolina. Her and her husband own all the bars on Glenwood, if you know them too. And then we've got Olivier Mevellec on today. So if you didn't hear our original episode with him, he is a co-founder with his mom, Audrey Mevellec, of Global Marketing Certification. So it used to be only brokerage specific, and now it's open to all brokerages, which has been really amazing. So now I can, go out and tell. Well, I think it's amazing because it only makes the program that much stronger for everybody that's already in it. And you'll see why when we explain it here in a minute. But basically, the premise of this program is that it allows you to sell real estate anywhere in the world, whether you're licensed there or not. And that sounds crazy. We'll explain it and get into it. But that's the premise of it. And it's an awesome program that, I think it just is breaking boundaries in the real estate world. We're so used to only being specific to our local region. And now we're able to have expertise in other regions, other countries even. And it allows you to be a true, or have your clients for life, whether, wherever they're buying or selling. So welcome, Olivier. I probably butchered that. I'll let you, give some more details on it and stuff. But yeah, we're very excited to have you on, especially with, I guess, the GMA 2.0 recently coming out. Give us a little bit of your background, how you got into real estate and global marketing.
Sure.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you both for having me on again. So it's great to be here. And yes, we actually started the company back in 2007. So I'm originally from France, the south of France, a place called Antibes. It's in between Nice and Cannes, all the way down to the south. And grew up between there and the French Caribbean islands. Started playing golf when I was about 15 years old, I think. Fell in love with it. And my parents were aware of the school system here in America, to where you could go to school in the morning and then play sports in the afternoon. So they moved here to Plano, Texas. I live in Dallas currently, but to Plano, Texas, to where I went to high school, played golf, had a lot of scholarship opportunities throughout the U.S., and decided to go to a school in Florida, played college golf there, and then
what school did you go to?
Actually, it's a small business school. It's called Weber International, and it's in Orlando, by Orlando and Cocoa Beach. And reason why I went there is that the golf coach at the time was very famous, and so I wanted to take all the knowledge I could, I guess you could say. So I went there for 4 years, traveled around for a bit. Then I played professional golf. Was a member of the European PGA Tour back in 97, 98, a long time ago. And my mother was in a real estate business for a long time already. And so when she started her business here in Dallas, already she had some issues because, your license you're bounded by the limits of, if your license is in Texas, you stay in Texas kind of mentality. But really the laws of it all, it goes back to Article 11 of the Code of Ethics of NAR. it actually explains to you as a real estate agent that you are able to do real estate all over the world. You just have to do specific things before you get to that point. And so I joined my mother in real estate about 2000. After I was a golf pro here in Dallas at two of the most prestigious country clubs here, and I was playing golf with doctors, attorneys, and whomever.
Yeah.
And so I thought, why not take my real estate license and try to do business with them? And when
Yeah.
I got my license, I did what most managers would tell me, say, hey, at the time we didn't have social media, which is going to age me even more. We did postcards. So they were like, send a postcard 7 times in a row and your phone's going to start ringing and you're going to make a lot of money. And so I did all of that and my phone never rang. And I mean, never, not once, right? Because I didn't have that credibility yet of that real estate agent. So it became, it was very apparent to me that we needed to do something different. And so I had a friend of mine who was a golf pro as well, but in Scottsdale, Arizona, had a beautiful golf course listing. So I asked him, I said, hey, we've got all the agreements in place. I would like to co-market your listing. And first it was like, what are you talking about? Because again, people are aware of the word co-listing, but co-marketing is completely different. And those two things, by the way, are completely different. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I explained to him what it was, he went back to his seller. Everything has to be in writing between the seller and the listing agent, number one. And then we had the agreements of being able to take that listing in Dallas and even put it in the Dallas MLS, believe it or not. Most MLSs now has an area either under out of area or others. MLSs like Houston, Miami, though, Toronto, LA are far more advanced, meaning that they have like literally the countries and states. I mean, it's incredible, right? And so I was able to, my first listing here in Dallas was a listing in Scottsdale. And so I did a postcard like I did 7 times before, put the property on the front, and on the top I wrote, "This is not just a dream." And I sent it to the same sphere of influence I did 7 times, and my phone did start ringing. It was like, oh my God, I didn't know you did real estate outside of Dallas. And that started opening doors locally to where I would say to the seller, if that seller in Scottsdale is trusting me, why can't you trust me when I live 15 minutes down the street? And that really just started the real estate business. And then we started taking a lot of listings all over the world. And at the time we were with Coldwell Banker. And we, we had a lot of luxury listings. We had a castle for $27 million. We had golf course developments in St. Lucia and I mean, all over the place in the Caribbean islands. And we found a lot of difficulties. We would spend a lot of money with Rob Report, DuPont, Unique Homes, and kind of hoping for that buyer to look at those magazines. But the people who buy $27 million homes don't go to the grocery store. And, you find that out the hard way, right? And so we created a magazine, which we do have. It's called Castles and Estates Magazine as well, that you've seen, Hallie, and you've had. But we decided to create a concept. And the concept was first called IRES, International Real Estate Specialist. We trained thousands of agents all over the world. And back in 2016, I rebranded everything to Global Marketing Agent. That was a long answer, but that's the...
Yes. No, yes, I love it. Yes, that's what we're looking for, your background. And it's crazy to think, you think having Rob Report and having all these different marketing aspects, but then you have to kind of dig in and say, the people that I want to see this, where are they looking at? And
Correct.
I guess the magazines at the grocery store were not it. So
no,
okay, so take us a little bit further with that. So then you rebranded it to Global Marketing Agent. So tell our audience, how does this work? How are we? I mean, I know you talked about Code 11, and it says that we're agents of the world. How do you stay compliant in this, or how what documents. Take us on
Sure.
that whole journey.
Yeah, of course. So we were fortunate enough to meet our attorney, Arthur, who had been with ExxonMobil for over 30 years in land acquisitions and development rights all over the world. So he was very familiar, and he was also a real estate broker, not only in Texas, but in Michigan and New York as well. So, I mean, he was, and he is to this day still very knowledgeable about the laws and how, everything is supposed to move. And so that was the first step, is to create all of the global marketing agreements to be able to have the relationship between the seller and the listing agent, then the listing agent to the other agents who are going to market that property all over the world, wherever in the world it makes sense to do so, right? Because again, I saw one of your videos, which, was great, because you mentioned, real estate migration patterns, right? So now today there are websites with the data to where you can look at Dallas and go, okay, where the buyers are coming from, and it will tell you San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota. I mean, like, it will tell you specifically, right? And so, I mean, you could Google right now real estate migration patterns of Tampa, of San Angelo, Texas, and it actually will give you that information. So once you have that information, to me, that's half the battle, right? We were very fortunate for a long time to where real estate was going out of style, to where there was not enough properties. And so you just put the sign and then boop, you had 30 offers. But now that we're becoming back to some sort of normalcy, right? And to where everything is, expireds are back into the part of the business. You've got now listings above 1 million, 5 million, 10 million who are staying on the market again, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years. And so as an agent, you're going to have to figure out something unique to market these properties. And so I hope that answers your question, but we have been vetted by all brokerages around the world. We were actually on Remax University for many years. And so we've been, like I said, vetted by all the attorneys of all these different brokerages as far as the validity of the agreements. Are we doing something legal or illegal? And so everything is strictly up to par. But one of the things that I wanted to go back to, one of the first statements that you said, that this certification or this program is about international real estate. That really is the last part of the international, of the concept, if that makes sense, because everything has to start locally. And I always challenge agents to go on their social media and write just a post as to, dear friends and family, who owns a home outside of Dallas, Texas? And then you're going to see comments that are going to go, I own one in Cedar Creek Lake, Lake Conroe, Utah, Colorado, Florida, Cabo San Lucas, the south of France. And then next thing you're going, who did they call when they bought that real estate? They didn't call you, because they only know you to be the local expert. If they want to buy real estate in Cabo San Lucas or in Park City, Utah, they're going to go on the internet. They're going to Google Park City, Utah real estate, and they're going to contact the listing agent directly where the property is. You're going to see them at the supermarket, the Tum Thum, right? In 2 weeks from now. And they're going to say, hey, Hallie, good to see you. We just got back from Utah and we just bought a $500,000 ski home. And you're going to be thinking, what about me, right? It's not their fault. As an agent, it is our responsibility to educate our clients that we can service them not only locally, but globally. And so that's what this program does, is before it takes you to the international piece, we teach agents on how to legally borrow listings from other global marketing agents. And Ashley will go into the technology of it all, to where now what it does is you're able to create, I'm going to use this word loosely, but you're able to create your own global MLS on your own website. You could do, click here to view my San Angelo and Dallas properties. Click here to view my international properties. You see where I'm going with this. And so, and then on social media, like, I mean, when I see what you do on social media, it blows my mind. I mean, and that's a compliment, by the way. I mean, you're awesome, right? And so if you're able to teach other agents, and that's something I want to talk to you about, is to teach agents to take these these properties and showcase them, create some canvas with it, create YouTube channel, whatever you want, you're going to stir up a lot of opportunities and credibility to where, wow, we need to call Hallie because not only she's the specialist in Dallas and San Angelo, but she can help us anywhere around the world. And then lastly, before the international, is we teach agents locally on how to speak a different marketing language than their competitors down the street. What I mean by that, to me, a lot of agents get mad at me when I say this, but it's okay, right? I'm French. I'm always on the edge of who knows what. Okay. So the thing is that to me, an agent from a brokerage to another, that it is a Remax, Coldwell Banker, EXP, whatever it is, if I were a fly on the wall and I'm listening to a listing presentation, it all sounds the same to me. Yep. Absolutely the same, because that's how the real estate business was taught. And so having the GMA value proposition to where now you can approach the seller, do your local listing presentation, and then teach them about real estate migration patterns, where the buyers are coming from, and then now teaching them how you can connect all the dots with the GMA co-marketing system, with the agreements and the technology that Ashley is going to take you through, is to me a no-brainer. And that's from a $200,000 listing to a $2 million to $20 million listing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just want to take a second to introduce Ashley Galladay. She is also in the Dallas area and helps Olivier with all of his technology and marketing. So welcome, Ashley, to our podcast. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for letting me crash the party a little late.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So I guess talking about, I would like to go a little bit more into the listing presentation, sure. If you don't mind, Olivier, like just how you utilize it and how you even like use it with price drops and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So on the listing presentation, it's kind of like an a la carte service, what I call that, right? To where I go to the seller and it's almost like I have 3 different columns. I have column number 1, which is the local listing presentation. So Mr. Seller is everything I'm going to do for you, from signing the yard to my company's website, to my social media platforms, to open houses, to me knocking on doors with the neighbors to say, I'm just the whole thing, right? I don't have to teach you that. That's what agents are taught to do. But number 2, Mr. Seller, I am a global marketing agent, meaning that I am certified and I have the ability to tap into not only the technology, but a network of agents around the world that are also all certified, all with these global marketing agreements, to where now I'm going to, again, if I'm an agent in Dallas and I know that San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, even certain parts of Florida are top markets for me, Mr. Seller, the data tells me here that I need to go and find agents in these areas for them to become what we call a co-marketing agent. What we're going to do is we're going to have language into the actual listing agreement, right, where the property is listed, as to what the seller is giving us authorization to do, right? Then what we're going to do, once I have that in writing, then the global marketing agent is going to have other agreements that are going to go between him or her and all these other co-marketing agents around the world. Now, the truth is you can have as many co-marketing agents as you want on a property. To me personally, what I call this, and you've mentioned it in your video, is to actually create your own army of agents wherever in the world it makes sense to market that property. And please understand this, and this is going to be another crazy comment from me, but it's okay, right?
Right.
A lot of people who are with global branded companies like a Remax, Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, Century 21, EXP, the list goes on and on and on, believe that because their company is branded globally means that once they put a property in a .com, that property is going to be seen all over the world. And that is not the case, and far from it. And I mean, so far from it, it's incredible. For agents to go on a listing presentation and to say, because our company is in 150 countries, your property will be in 150 countries, is a lie. Okay.
Right.
And that's a fact. And so a lot of these organizations, the way their websites are created, the way Europeans, international people are looking at real estate is completely different than Americans and Canadians. Okay. And so now going back to the listing presentation, yes, there are different commission structures that we actually discussed with the agent, and we do not set fees as a certification or as a company. We only kind of help you in a direction to it. So Mr. Seller, option number A, which is the local listing presentation, is 6%. It's going to be 3% for the buyer side and 3% for the selling side, which is going to be me, hopefully. Now, Mr. Seller, on option number 2, what we're going to do is we're going to write language into the special provisions part of your contract or as an addendum to the contract to say, number 1, seller agrees for his or her property to be marketed outside of that jurisdiction. Number 2, so Mr. Seller, just hold on 1 second, because this is where the Mr. Seller, the face starts dropping, okay? Seller agrees to pay listing agent 1 extra % on top of the 6% upon agreed locally. Here's the key. If and only when, I repeat this, if and only when the listing agent is able to procure a buyer from one of these co-marketing agents around the world. So Mr. Seller, what this means is this: if the buyer comes in Dallas, from Dallas tomorrow or 2 weeks from now, we stay at 6%. No harm, no foul. But if one of our co-marketers in Chicago or in San Francisco calls me and says, Olivier, I've been marketing your property and I've found another real estate agent through my network who has a buyer and an investor or someone who likes the property, that's when the extra % will be involved, because at that point, there will be 3 agents involved in the transaction. Me, the selling agent, the co-marketer in San Francisco, and then that other real estate agent that he found through his network that could be located in Vancouver, British Columbia, for all I care, right? So that's at the end of the day to where the commission structure is a little bit different. But I want to remind you this, because I know agents right now, the only thing they hear is 7%, right? You know, that's and I'm laughing with you because they don't hear me. If the buyer comes locally, it says at 6. So what is the risk to the seller? 0.
Right.
There is zero risk. Because at the end of the day, yes, an offer comes from San Francisco, but there's still a lot of things that can happen. I have to present it to my seller. Maybe he doesn't want it. Maybe he doesn't accept it. Maybe it's not cash. Maybe whatever reason. So what I'm trying to say is that at least what you're doing is that you're presenting yourself as unique value selling proposition that others do not have around you. And guess what? You are shaking trees all over the world to get results. And that is different, because I will tell you another thing. This is a joke. This is my favorite joke for realtors, okay? What are the 3 P's in real estate for a realtor, right? Number 1, put it in the MLS. Number 2, put a sign in the yard. And number 3, pray.
Yeah.
Right? Pray for the phone to ring. This is another P that I would like to use. This is what I call proactive marketing. This is not about you sitting, waiting for the phone to ring. This is about you being able to create all this. So the commission structures, I know, are a little bit different, but I'll go back on the other part of the question you ask is what to do when someone calls you as a seller and says, Hallie, we've been on the market for 2-3 weeks right now, and it's time to do a price reduction. Mm-hmm. This is when I go time out. I go, Mr. Seller, remember that first day when I told you about the 7% and you told me no because I was crazy? Then tell me what kind of price reduction you would like to do. Let's take a $500,000 listing out of example, right? First price reduction, let's go with $20,000, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, 20,000 and 500, what is that? That's 4%. See where I'm going with this? Not rocket science, right? Say, Mr. Seller, rather than reducing it 20,000, let's reduce it 10, right? We'll be in a different price in the MLS. And that other 2%, don't take the 2, but just allow one of those % for me to go play around with people that I know through the GM network in Chicago, in San Francisco, in LA, and wherever around the world. And so that again is how you approach this whole thing. You can go straight in and try to negotiate it. And a lot of sellers will say, Hallie, I love you, but there's not a chance I'm giving you 7. And you say, it's okay. You can still, by the way, with GMA, and Ashley will take you through this, with the procurement fee or no procurement fee, is you as an agent, you can still find agents through the network that will market your property for just the buyer side.
Yeah.
Right? Because what that does, again, if I'm an agent in Dallas and I call you and you give me a listing from San Angelo in Dallas, Texas, you have given me a golden carrot for me to go to my sphere of influence and say, hey, everyone, look at me. I've got a brand new listing. It's in San Angelo, Texas. And by the way, every other agent in Dallas, Texas, which I don't know what that number is, 35,000, 40,000. Do you know how many of these agents have listings outside? And they'll say, no, how many? And I'll go, you're looking at him. And so that is the credibility. That is the differentiating aspect of the listing tool.
Okay, so question for you. Okay, so there's 3 agents involved. If we go through, a transaction that brings in a co-marketing agent, out of those 3 agents, who all needs to be certified for global marketing?
Yep, great question. So the only 2 is the listing agent, obviously. And then the other agent, the co-marketer that I'm dealing with, the other, the agent with the buyer, we can't really call him a buyer's agent, but the agent with the buyer, it can be not GMA, we don't care which company, wherever. A buyer's a buyer. So to answer your question, just 2 people.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay, so do we want to chat a little bit about the procurement fees and stuff? Okay.
The technology part of it?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, the technology part.
Yeah, we can do both. I can show you we can talk about the procurement fees with the tech piece. Okay. Let me make sure I can share screen.
Yeah, it should be on that present button.
Yeah, it's just taking a second to load. There we go. Do the entire do the window.
And while Ashley is looking through this, I was telling people about this and they couldn't believe it because, again, it's going to age me. But I mean, back in 2006, I'm telling you, not only there was no social media, but everything that she's about to show you, we were doing this with faxes. Okay. Yeah. I know it may be some people here may go, what's a fax? Yeah. Fax is the slowest way to communicate in the world. And then when PDFs came around, when PDF came around, then you were like, okay, that's pretty cool, right? But PDF is still very time consuming. So what you're about to see here is just night and day.
Right.
Yeah, so we're kind of relaunching this as GMA 2.0 because this is the actual platform that was missing all of the other years and all the way back to the dark ages of the fax machine, which I am sad to admit that I was part of. I started in real estate in 2004, so I was there for those days, right? Before all the tech platforms. So real quickly, I just want to show you guys.
There we go. Sorry.
Can you guys see the screen now?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So now we have the entire GMA training opportunity as an actual video course. So just like you do any online courses, there's 10 different video sessions. There's a quiz at the end. Then you get your actual certificate. You can go post and share that just like you do with I'm not logged into one that has it, but you can post the certificate to say, hey, I am stamped, I am trained. And I think, going back to the marketing, I think this is one of the biggest disservices for real estate agents is they don't learn how to market, right? No one teaches them marketing and how to sell a house. They only get taught how to actually write a contract in, real estate school. And so I think this whole concept is marketing at its core that most agents just don't have any experience in.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's a massive difference of what you're normally talking about. And
Can I say one thing real quick too? So I'm actually certified with GMA. I will say I think the certification took me about 2 hours to do.
Yeah.
So it's nothing like you're continuing education, 90 hours.
No.
It takes 2 hours. It's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the quiz, Olivier can do it blindfolded now, but it's maybe 20 minutes at the end to do the test, you know?
Yeah, that included the taking the quizzes, the 2 hours. So
it's not bad at all. So you become a GMA agent by taking the course, you do the certification, you get that, use that in your marketing materials, everything. Then we have I think this is one of the most important things that we added, is that they didn't really have a great way of connecting the agents before and knowing who was another GMA agent and having this one, kind of portal or source to go and ask for the listings and things like that, or to refer agents within to other agents in other countries or states. So now we have the actual certified GMA roster. And so we can see where all of those agents are. And like I said, we've just been beta testing the 2.0 version, and we still have a pretty good, spread of agents all over the country. And then, already have people in France and Italy and Spain and, United Kingdom. And so it's absolutely validating that it doesn't matter where you're at, doesn't matter what your market is. And so you can put all of your information and have your contact information and everything of being an agent in the GMA network for referrals and stuff. But then we have the listing roster. And so I think this is probably the most favorite thing for everyone is, where do I find the listings, right? How do I go add my listings? And then how do I find a listing that I want to co-market? Because maybe I don't have an active listing right now. Maybe I'm a newer agent. I want to, look like I have more listings. And so I want to go co-market them. And so now we can see and show visually, hey, this is where all of those are. So if you want to search by country, say I only want to see the listings in France, or wherever you want to go, or a specific city or price range, you can filter all of that up here at the top. Or you can say, hey, I only want to see Daniela's listings, or Kendra's, or Hallie's, which you got to get yours in here, by the way. So this is where you come in and find the listings. And then just like pretty much anywhere else, we have, a photo, a description. You can use that in the co-marketing. And then we have the link directly to the co-marketing forms here. So you don't have to send an email, do a DocuSign, get it signed, send it back, get another version, download that. You don't have to have 12 different versions of the PDF to actually fill out those co-marketing agreements. So the agreements, and I think this is really important too, even from a PDF standpoint, the problems with PDFs are that when you fill out a fillable PDF, at the end, you only have one image. It's one image with all of that data. The data is not segregated or separated from the document. So that's what we've done with these forms is, yes, you're filling out a form, right? Just like you would a digital PDF, but we're able to use that data. And now every time somebody raises their hand and says, I want to co-market the listing agent, because we have their email address in the field, gets an automatic notification that someone raised their hand and is going to go co-market their listing. So they could be sending the seller an update every week and going, hey, I got 7 requests to co-market your listing this week in other areas of the world, right? So we separated that data so that the data can work smarter for us, instead of just having this flat PDF that someone would still have to manually go send that email every time someone did it, right? So we've tried to make it work smarter for everyone and not harder. So I kind of pre-filled this out, but one of the things I also like to point out is the signature page is right here in the document, right? So I'm on my computer on my desktop, and I just use my mouse to sign that. So again, I'm not having to go set it up in another platform to get a signature just for the signature page. Right. Yeah. So I can do this on my phone. I can do this on a tab. Anywhere you have internet, anywhere in the world, you could be co-marketing listings from the beach in Mexico, or, from a castle in Europe, or wherever you're at. And
Love it. Yeah. Well, there's 2 good points that
I want to be in a castle in Europe right now.
Yes, I know, right? Okay, so 2 good points that just, you weren't even talking about this really, but touched on them a little bit. Okay, so let's say this, you have your listing in here. You're able to go to your seller and say, I've got people marketing them in all these different cities. That's going to make you, like Olivier said, stand out way more than any other agent, Yeah,
you could screenshot the map, right? And say, hey, put that in the listing presentation. Here's how many other listings I have access to. And then here's where your listing is going to go. These are, or do it of the referral network with the members. Say, here's all the agents that I have access to all over the world that are going to go co-market your listing, right? And here's what I know about people. If you can show and tell someone, you are much more likely to get their buy-in. Whereas if you're just telling them over and over, like there's a reason they taught us show and tell when we were in elementary school, is because we needed the visual to go with it. And so that's where, I know this seems like not a big deal, but these little dots all over the map are going to be way more impactful when you're giving that or having that conversation with the seller and part of your presentation, as opposed to you just telling them that you're asking for another percent of a commission that they don't want to give you. Right. So that's where it seems so insignificant and so basic, but it's so impactful because people remember pictures more than they remember what you say to them. Yes. And they will feel something from seeing all these little dots than just hearing or seeing the number on the page that they don't want to, deal with. So yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Well, and that's also material that you guys provide when you're a part of this program too, is like, I think you have a listing presentation or listing presentation slides. That's what I've put into my listing presentations. So that's another, exactly. Perfect.
So we have brochures, we have how-to flyers, marketing library, a few other agreements, all kinds of resources for you guys to tap into. We also just started this. I don't think you've seen this yet, Holly. So we went into Canva and created some pre-populated templates to where you can go drop in your headshot. And now you have some posts and some things to say, like the post that Olivier was talking about, of where would you want to, have a second home, comment below, right? So we've already done a lot of the legwork for you. You just drop this in on your socials and now you start to
I love that.
Yeah.
So that was another one of the points that you kind of made when you're going through the slides before. I mean, if you're a newer agent and don't have any listings, it's totally fine. You're building credibility by sharing other people's listings too. I mean, these are attention grabbing properties, right?
Yeah, because all of a sudden people are like, oh my gosh, she just got licensed and she's sharing this property in Mexico or, wherever. Like, wow, what is she doing? People start to pay attention.
Yes, so, absolutely. Okay, awesome.
Okay, so real quick, because you asked this about the procurement fees. So Olivier, why don't you talk about how to split them or what the mindset or strategy is around the procurement and
Sure. So again, this is just an example, samples. Again, like I said earlier, we don't set any fees for the agents, but when you've got, let's say, 6% locally, 3 and 3, not rocket science, but let's say that you're able to negotiate 1 extra percent, and now you've got 7%. We always tell the agents to do the math backwards. And what I mean by that is the agent with the buyer, number one, because if that co-marketing agent puts it in the MLS, obviously the buyer's agent commission, people look at that. And if it's less than 2.5, then I hate to be honest as well, but you know what I'm saying by that, right? So we tell, do the math backwards. So essentially, if you take, at least 2.5% for the agent with the buyer, and then so you have a 4.5 left, right? If you do the math. And so so I would go 1.5 back to the co-marketing agent, and then 3% back to the agent with the listing. So essentially, you're not losing anything as a listing agent. And again, the 1.5 to the 2.5, it's up to you. It really depends on the price of the property, right? If it's a $500,000 listing, then I would go with 1.5. But now if it's a $5 million listing, I would go with 1%, if that makes sense, because all relevant to the commission.
So you get the freedom of deciding that, right? And an agent could decide, hey, even if I don't get the extra 1% and I'm just dealing with the 6, they could still offer the 2.5% to the buyer's agent and do 0.5% to the procurement agent, right? Even if they're not getting an extra 1% from the seller.
Yeah,
So
this is
you get to decide how to.
yeah, it's
split
like Ashley said, this is about you deciding. Just be creative with it. And again, what some sellers will, believe it or not. I mean, this is crazy. We personally, my mother and I, we've negotiated 10% listings, and I know some people are like 10. Well, I mean, we've got an agent right now, Sandra Otero. She's got, and Sandra, I think she's got an 11% listing. And I did say this correctly, 11. You'd be surprised because again, for certain properties that have been on the market, again, for, I mean, some, a year, 2 years, 3 years, the seller would rather give you the money, right, for you to really market it properly than just keep waiting and doing price reduction after price reduction. Again, this is all numbers. We're all smart enough to kind of get the whole experience of this, but just be creative with it. Again, people ask me this all the time. We're not a referral company, by the way. So when I talk about these fees and add this and add that, it's not for us. This is your business. We're just here to train, support, which is another thing very unique about our concept, which is the third part of how you started the Zoom or the podcast rather, is international real estate transactions. And I always tell this to agents. I can't tell you if it's going to be day one, 2 months, or 6 months down the road, but I can promise you this: if you do this consistently, meaning postings and asking questions and on your social media talking about baby boomers, how like this is an actual number for you to know. By every day right now until 2030, you've got 10,000 baby boomers in the US that are retiring every day. And nobody in the world can tell me that a baby boomer retires the same way a baby boomer did 10 years ago. Baby boomers now, this, right? Your parents and your parents' friends and so forth and so on, they want to go and live in Costa Rica for 6 months and then come back here, or Cabo San Lucas, or San Miguel de Allende, or the south of France or Italy. And social media has made this happen. And so us, the people who are globally, not just globally minded, but kind of thinkers of, people say always outside the box, but mostly the biggest take out of this for people, and I want them to remember this: why only make money locally when now you can do it globally? If someone can give me a good answer for this, I'm my ears are wide open, right?
Right.
It's all legal. You can help buy or sell, but how I started this was, if you consistently post these listings and these little things that we're going to help you post, someone will call you in your database, in your sphere of influence, and go, Hallie, I've got this friend, he owns a home in Panama. He wants to sell it. I told him about you because you're the global, agent. I see you on social media all the time. Can you help him? Can you secure and take that listing? And your answer will be absolutely yes, I can. Because now not only you have the support, but you have all the agreements between you and the seller where the property is located, which this would be Panama. So you would secure the listing first with the seller, right? This agreement is the equivalence of a listing agreement you have here locally, establishing the relationship between you and the seller. Address, price, everything you can think, duration, escrow, just the whole thing. Once the listing is in your pocket, then by law, you need to find another agent where the property is located to be your eyes and ears on the ground, where we have an agreement for that, which is called a co-brokerage or co-broker agreement. And so now the property is going to be with two agents, but you're on top. Okay, and send with the agent locally. So that agent locally is going to take the pictures. He's going to do the drones if you want to. You're going to have all the marketing material you want to. Property is going to be in Panama, doing what Panama agents do. And now the property is going to be with you here in San Angelo and Dallas, Texas. But why stop there? You're going to ask the agent in Panama, who buys in Panama? He's going to tell you Americans, Germans, and people who are looking for tax purposes, right? Because it's kind of like a Puerto Rico situation out there. And so now, what are you going to do? Real estate migration patterns, you know where these people are coming from. You're going to look back at the map that Ashley showed you. You're going to go and reach out to these agents and say, I've got a new listing in Panama. Would you like to work with me? And no agent in the GMA will tell you, no, I don't want to work with you, Hallie. They're going to say, thank you for calling me and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I
And then,
think,
oh, sorry. You go.
no, it's
Casey.
okay. I just want to really hone in on that. I think, so one, we're rolling out a GMA referrals course just for this specific reason, because again, I've been in real estate for 20 years and I had no idea that I could control the listing as opposed to referring it out from the top. I had no idea it could go the other way around. To me, that's a game changer for any agent.
Well,
Every
it's more
agent should
in
know
your
how.
pocket than just a regular referral.
Exactly. And it keeps the client with you forever, as opposed to you giving away your client. And then the next time they go to list, you don't have any control over getting that in some other area or the same one. And this keeps you in front of the client forever. And then you're in control over choosing who that local agent is. And so one, we're rolling out the GMA referrals course just for that reason, because we know that there's so much power in teaching agents just that piece of it. Right. And then the other thing I want to make sure, we don't have to talk about it right this second, but I want to make sure we talk about the affiliate opportunity too. Yes. Because we have GMA 2.0. So I just want to make sure that's on the list.
Yeah, no, and to the comment you said, Hallie, it is more money. And, you know, when I go into these real estate, the back end boards, you know, where agents will say, hey, I've got a listing opportunity. I'm looking for an agent in, you know, I don't know, Fort Lauderdale. And I'm thinking, I'm like, if these people only knew about GMA, if they only knew, and the reason why not a lot of people know about GMA, we've trained over, I would say, 9,000 agents now since 2006, by the way. Is because we were kind of exclusive, you know, we worked with RE/MAX University for, I could say, a good 6 years. And so I didn't go anywhere outside of RE/MAX. And then when I started this, actually, it was with Keller Williams and with Gene Frederick, who everybody knows Gene Frederick in the real estate world. And so, that you know, not a lot of people know about us yet. And so this GMA 2.0, with everything we're doing, you know, things are about to change drastically. But, you know, when I do the math, and I'm going to make a video one day on YouTube about this, if I take any listing and I do the math of you doing a referral, meaning that you look through your roster of your company and call another agent in Fort Lauderdale and say, I've got a listing opportunity. Do you want to take it? It's 25%. Here's the name of my client. Good luck. See you later. First of all, you lose your client, like Ashley was saying. Then number two, once you actually do the math of what that 25% referral fee is in comparison to actually doing it with the GMA, it's going to make you sick, right?
Yeah. I've heard it's like you need at least 35% or so to actually cover what you're losing on a referral. I've heard some sort of number like that.
Yeah. It's you know, I always say this: real estate without boundaries. Yes, your license is in Texas, it's in California, but why just stay there? And then what I hear from, you know, it's people all the time. Well, I don't know anything about Fort Lauderdale. You don't have to know anything about Fort Lauderdale. Right. This is why you've got to. That's right. That's it. That's as simple as that. But now you're not negotiating a 25 or 35% referral fee. You're actually negotiating a percentage from the price of the house when it sells. Those are two different numbers, right? Mm-hmm. Because then you don't know, is that agent in Fort Lauderdale that I'm taking, is he on an 80-20 split, or is he on a 90-10, or is he on 100? You know what I'm saying? So the amount of money, once you start doing the math, it's just, I mean, it's crazy. So
right. So how does it work from a buyer's standpoint? Like if you have a client who wants to buy in, I don't know, let's say Switzerland, mm-hmm. Walk us through that process as a GMA certified person.
Yeah, so that's the whole training that Ashley was just talking about, which is going to be great because we're kind of doing a white label kind of situation with that training, which I know you're going to love because now you can start a lot of conversations with a lot of people around the world. And it's going to open a lot of doors because it's a great little training, and it's got a test as well at the end. All right, so if you've got anxiety about that, just shoot me a text. I will help you. But the thing with this is when you send a referral out to someone, let's say in Switzerland, there's so much that can happen between point A to point B that a lot of people don't realize. You find an agent, let's say in Switzerland, right? You've never met them face to face. And then you say, hey, do you want to work with my client? Here's his name or her name, and let's agree on a fee. All right, 20, 25%, 30, whatever that fee may be. Then your worst nightmare happens to where they sit next to me on the plane on the way to Switzerland, to where I start asking questions. And I'm saying, oh my God, I'm a real estate agent in Switzerland. What are you talking about? Do you have an agent? Well, I kind of do. I've never met them. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That referral is gone.
Right.
Then this happens all the time. And I hear this from a lot of agents because I talk to a lot of agents like you. This one I love. I hate for the people who send them. It's, oh, I was referred to an agent in Fort Lauderdale, but when I went there, that person I met was such an idiot that, they didn't listen to me. They were trying to upsell me on, I said 500. They were trying to get me to 6 and 7. And then what happens? That relationship goes sideways. You don't talk to your client and then you lost referral. So, and there's so many.
Looks bad on you too.
100%. Yes. So now with the GMA, first of all, we kind of have like a code of ethic, and I'm pretty solid on that, to where if a GMA member comes up to me and say, hey, I've reached out to this member for the last 2 days and I can't get a response, I will step in. Because again, we've kind of taken this oath to where, like, hey, we're going to do things the right way. We're going to do it legally. We're going to do it in a professional manner. And that's being part of this community, right? And it's great. And so now, to where I'm able to send my client over there to we have a buyer referral agreement that we sign with the buyer before they go to Switzerland, to where it's just the same buyer's representation that you use in San Angelo or Dallas, Texas with your clients. It's just kind of reassuring to them that, hey, we're here to hold your hand through the entire process. If for some reason you get to Switzerland and you don't like the person that I refer to, you come to me first. We'll take care, because we've got other agents in Switzerland we can get a hold of. And so that's the concept. We don't hand over someone. We really hold their hand through their process and try to keep our clients for life.
Yep. I love it. So we're coming up on our hour marker. Are there any other aspects of the GMA program you want to cover?
Yeah. Ashley and the affiliate program.
Yes.
Yeah. So now that we have the value with the portal and having everything digitally at their fingertips, and being able to connect it more easily and all of the tech and everything. So we've relaunched the pricing, and now we have an affiliate agreement. So Holly, you're already part of the membership group and you're already certified. So now anyone else that you bring into the network, we're able to share part of that revenue with you as an affiliate. So anyone that wants to help grow it, not just take advantage of all of the value that it brings, but also bring it to other people, then we're able to share a portion of that back, depending on whether they choose annual or monthly or whatever.
Right.
And then the first year membership is more in the second year, but you're going to get paid on their first year and all of their renewals. So every year they stay in the group, you're going to get another check, because you're the reason that they came. So we have the affiliate links. And so the sales link for you to get credit for all of that and get paid. And then for the growth link for anyone else that you bring into the network, you get paid on them too. So I just like to throw that out there and make sure everybody knows that. And that's like a whole, so I'm not saying numbers specifically, but that's part of the training now. And we go into that in our weekly meetings in the GMA network. There's a meeting every month specifically just for the affiliates and how we can help support and grow it, because now we can, share in that, as opposed to before old school version. It was not as easy to do that. So now we have the tech to support the affiliate program. And then we're also going to be doing with that GMA referrals course, you'll be able to do all your own branding, sell the course as your white label, and then we'll split that with the affiliate member as well. So
love it. There's so much coming on. I'm so glad that you came back on, because it's just grown so much since the last.
This needs to be my 2024 thing. I need to get this under my belt.
Yes.
Well, yeah, Casey, because you have so many like partners and friends and just people
family that's not in this.
Family,
definitely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll send you my affiliate link.
Yeah, make sure, Holly, make sure you send her the right links, okay?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll get with you.
Jimmy
guys.
Holly, so stay on me. So,
I will for sure. Awesome. Well, any other last minute tidbits you guys want to add to?
No, I just want to thank you both again for allowing me and Ashley to come back in and just kind of give you an update as to GMA 2.0, and we're super excited. Hope people are the same, and like you wrote at the bottom there, if people have questions, they can reach out to me directly, and I'd be glad to talk to them.
Yes. Yeah. If you
Great.
didn't
Thank
see
you
that,
so
or if
much.
you're just listening in, it's Olivier, Olivier at globalmarketingagent.com if you want to reach out to him. Yes. And so, yeah, thank you, Olivier and Ashley, for coming on. Guys, follow them on social media. Follow me and Casey on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on either Apple or Spotify. Leave us a review so that we can make this podcast better and more tailored to what you guys want. And we will see you guys next Monday.
Sounds
Happy
great.
selling.
Yes,
Thank
perfect. Thank you
you.
so
Have a
much.
great week,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Bye, y'all.